Hey guys, welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we talk about Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 63, Intervention.
Yes.
Question. This
Okay.
is the first episode title that I don't get.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if introduction may have been the I word they wanted to use. I don't know.
I mean, it's pretty clear that the whole team needs an intervention at this point, so.
Fair. Yeah.
Well, they are intervening in the midst of this war.
Yeah. Yeah, that was rough, man.
Selling out the homeland.
So, usually, timing-wise, Thursday nights, occasionally I am cooking dinner when the episode starts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Or eating. So, I wasn't 100% engaged in the beginning when they were talking about their plan going in.
Mm-hmm.
And I missed the part of their planning where they were talking about telling the Bright Queen about the dude in the Empire.
Yeah.
So Thursday night when it was happening live and they started telling her, I was like, what are you doing? And then on my rewatch, I was like, nope, they planned it right from the start.
I saw that whole thing and I was still, what are you doing? I mean...
And like, what, I don't understand why they're so ready, drop of a hat, tell the Bright Queen everything, including the stuff that's not pertinent to why I thought they were going there, which is to say, hey, we think someone's going to be setting up another rift, and it's going to happen at this Overgrowth apothecary.
Yeah.
But they don't want to tell Dyren anything? Or they want to pick and choose what they're going to tell Dyren? I don't know, it's...
Yeah.
But it comes back to, why criminals always get caught. They always make a mistake.
Yeah.
And I think this is laying the seeds for that.
They, I think they're firmly in the Dynasty's camp.
Yeah.
After this.
Yeah.
There's no play both sides like Caleb was wanting. There's no... they are firmly agents of the Dynasty.
Yeah. Well, I agree, but I'll add a caveat.
Okay.
And that is, if they are able to help Dyren infiltrate even higher than what she was hoping to get, and they get information that is of equal value to what they gave the Bright Queen. Which technically, in a sense, they didn't give the Bright Queen anything that her own scouts wouldn't have, except for the fact that she doesn't know what the Scourgers are.
Yeah, the Scourgers are a big thing. Caleb's buddies.
Yeah. Is there a deeper betrayal they can get to from this?
Yeah, openly declare they're with the Dynasty to the Empire.
I don't think they'll... Well, that doesn't serve their purposes, so I don't think they'll do that. I did like that they were like, should Not and Jester take the lead, still be the only ones talking, or do we want to sort of pass that around? And Ford's like, I think maybe other people should talk. The implication that he didn't really say explicitly was someone like me. And like, no, like Yasha can do it. And I loved it was like Yasha's Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Jester's dissertation. Not summary. And then Beauregard's debriefing.
Yeah. And yeah.
That part I liked a lot. Other than the
and honestly,
information given.
Like mechanically wise, it was before you least wanted to be the face of the party.
Yeah. Yeah. So Matt's doing the red nose. He did his game with Colbert.
Yes.
And this episode had a lot of side table Game of Thrones call-outs. And I just wanted to give Matt props for being a better storyteller than Dave and Dan. Because in 2 scenes, Matt has flipped his hopeful queen to mad queen in 2 scenes. And he did it believably and scared the shit out of all the players.
Yeah. Yeah, they've traded whatever you want to call the Cerberus Assembly, fascists, whatever group you want to align them with, call them, for basically a homicidal regency.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that.
Of course, from our understanding, thanks to not, the regency pays better.
Yeah.
So there's that.
The job that they were going to take, or that they were offered to go to Nicodranus from the Empire, was only going to pay $5,000.
Yeah.
And
they get over $2,000 a piece.
Yeah. But I mean, that could also be, just level appropriate gold that Matt's awarding. So,
Sure.
But yeah, I did love that after they got out of that meeting, Ford was like, "What did we just do?" And yeah, that's why I was like, "Oh, yeah." Did they sign up to break the wheel? Are they going to try to do it themselves? And that's when I had the thought, 2 theocracies, both alike in dignity.
Yeah.
And you finished the quote when you read my notes.
Yeah.
Where we set our scene.
In Wilde, where we set our scene.
Yeah. And that's sort of the position that they're in at the moment, is which theocracy do they want to be a part of?
Yeah.
I loved the progression that became, well, why don't we just start our own country?
Yeah, Jesterland.
Yeah, Jester, the libertarian wonderland. And I love that Taliesin pointed it out at the table. In a lot of ways, he and Travis were my avatars in this episode, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of avatars, do you have an MVP for this episode? Because I think I was going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I have to settle on Sam.
Okay.
Sam did the most to push the plot forward. Sam put himself in danger to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I got to give it to Sam.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. My other choice was Jester.
Yeah.
Especially with that end of show sending.
Yeah, that was a good close. But I'm biased for Laura.
Yeah.
Already. So.
Yeah.
But this episode again was fairly early, well, after the break, when Sam solidified it for me, I think.
Okay.
Because sneaking into that.
Yeah.
I do wonder why he hesitated so much to go in after that person, rather than him and Haw, which is why Matt made him make the check that he didn't do well enough.
Yeah.
Whereas, I think if I were in that situation, I'm like, I'm saying to Matt, I'm interrupting his narration. As soon as he opens the door and goes in, I'm going in after him.
Yeah.
Just because being in the room is a lot easier to overhear what they say than on the door, which we saw.
Right. We do get a...
Do you think that was a person or place that they were talking about that he overheard? Or she? Because I have a feeling it's a place.
Yeah.
Now, I also liked Caleb saying, what we need to do will not feel good.
Yeah.
Like I think he is already feeling, as he already feels like he's a betrayer. And I think he's doing everything he can to rationalize what they're doing. And he is trying to target his betrayal to the Cerberus Assembly. And I don't think it's going to be possible to separate in the end.
See, I almost get the feeling that he's stuck in another betrayal, and in order to, and instead of like justifying it, and I think he's grasping at the Cerberus Assembly as his justification. If I can tie it back to this, it's not as bad because I'm making amends for the other one.
Yeah, I see that.
But yeah, speaking of Caleb, we do get Liam did tweet out the 2 spells that he got.
Yeah,
the official notes, and there was the first level one is the Gift of Alacrity. Alacrity, yeah. Which is a casting time of 1 minute, range of touch, verbal and somatic, and 8-hour duration. And it gives the target a plus D8 on their initiative for 8 hours, which is pretty good.
Arguably better than Bo's boots.
Yeah, and it's not concentration.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a war mage can cast this and mage armor at the beginning of the day.
Yeah. Intelligence, dex, and the D8.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then the second level one is the Fortune's Favor, which is also 1 minute touch, verbal, somatic, and material. The material being a white pearl worth at least 100 gold.
Yeah.
The pearl is not consumed, so you only need to buy it once.
Yeah, which he has for Identify.
Yeah. And the duration is 1 hour, and it gives you a fragment.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lesser version of looking into the beacon. Because with the beacon, you had it all day.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Yeah, and I had a feeling before you showed me that. I had a feeling like that one was the second level one.
Yeah.
Do you think? Well, we probably won't get Bo and Dyer in an elevator, as awesome as that would be.
Hydra.
Yeah, that's where. That's what I was thinking. Although Travis went to the room. I can't remember the director's name. But yeah. They also had a "Are we the baddies" moment.
Yeah.
The Cobalt Soul Allies. Do you think they are an allies?
I think they potentially can be, but I think if the Mighty Nine continue down the path they're on, they won't be.
Fair. Well, and that also assumes that the Cobalt Soul, their end goal is to get rid of the Cerberus assembly, rather than root out just the corrupt individuals.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is essentially a bardic inspiration, but it's only for initiative.
No, I think he's talking about the Fortune's Favor, which is a luck point, not really an inspiration, because the inspiration is adding this die, which would be like the initiative one.
Yeah.
But that's 8 hours, and you get it on every one rather than just using it once.
Yeah.
So, be probably more worth it just to take the lucky feat than the second level spell. And then you just have 3 points each day. To get 3 points each day.
Except the lucky feat doesn't transfer to other people.
True. Unless you have that one. Unless you're a halfling with that one feat.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, it's possible that Caleb, they're 9th level now?
Yeah.
So he's got 4 second level spell slots.
Right.
So he can cast it 4 times, and then use Arcane Recovery to recover 2 of those slots. So 4 of the 7 of them have that luck point, rather than with the dodecahedron, it was just 1.
Right. But if they don't use it within the hour, they lose it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a sense it's better, but it also requires more forethought and planning than we're used to seeing with this group.
I did think Jester's idea with the paints was going down the right road.
Yeah.
That was, I think, for me, the saddest part of the episode is the kernel of a great plan and then just swept aside, and something else I found. So many good ideas just got left by the wayside. And I'm like, no.
And that happens all the time in D&D.
That's true.
I've not only watched players do it, I've been a player that does it. Yeah. And you have too.
Yeah. We saw a return of the lawful evil Caleb, where he's like, no witnesses. If we do this, no one's walking out of there.
Yeah.
And he was going to do it. He was going to kill that goblin and that bugbear.
Yeah. And...
or at least take them captive. But do you think they were right in reading the situation, that they were of no use in their investigations? Or...
no, I think they probably could have been of some use.
Okay, I want to talk about one more noodly thing.
Okay.
Before we get into other stuff. And it's just because of how my brain works. Matt had the chest delivered. We were talking about how much the dynasty pays better than the Empire. Matt said it's over 300 pounds. 15,500 gold pieces weighs exactly 310 pounds. Which technically is greater than the carrying capacity of a chest. But that's a wooden chest, and Matt did say it was an iron chest, so I'll give him that. Which means that chest probably weighed 400 pounds, because iron weighs more than wood.
Yes.
But they divvy it up. There were 2 coins as a remainder that Sam didn't bother to mention when he asked, are we divvying it up now? Do you think those 2 gold coins went on Knott's character sheet?
I'm going to have to say yes, because that is exactly how I would have phrased my wording and how I would have divvied it up as a player. It's exactly why my character in our Sunday game is as wealthy as he is.
That's true.
Because
you're the one always snatching the cash,
snatching the cash, splitting it up.
Yep.
Was working for the church and skimming off the tithes.
Yep. But they get 2,214 gold apiece, which is 44 and a quarter, almost 44 and a third pounds of coinage. Their belt pouch carries 6 pounds.
So they have multiple belt pouches.
I kind of wish Matt would ask them where they're carrying it.
Yeah.
Where they're keeping it. And also for their own protection. Because if we ever get in a situation like Bo and Hupperduke, or all of them really that got drunk, had their coin purses snatched, knowing that, I can only have 300 coins in my coin purse, is an insurance policy against that kind of theft. Yeah. When you're carrying that much coinage.
And that's exactly why you and I've started. We actually have written down on note cards what's in which. Is it in the side pocket? Is it in the main pouch of the backpack? Is it on my belt?
Is it in the backpack or just strapped to the outside? Yeah. But I do that for a lot of my characters and a lot of campaigns that I play in, just for verisimilitude for me, because I like to know where that character has to reach for it. Yeah. I played a knight once, and I drew his saddle and saddlebags, and where his sword was put. Like that, his whole packed arrangement on the horseback, just so that I would know that's where it's at. But I mean, that's me and not a system requirement. Yeah, and they're not using encumbrance, so weight doesn't matter.
Yeah, when you use the encumbrance variant, it's much more vital to know where things are and how much weight is where, and if I drop my backpack, how much,
Yeah. Do I get my 10 feet of speed back? Do I get 20 feet of speed back?
Right.
Yeah. So, to the final fight. Because I didn't take a lot of notes on the fight. Because of my proclivity to take too leave notes on the fights. So I was like, I consciously made the choice. No notes from the fight. You have a few notes. So
I have a few notes, and I have one that I didn't actually put on here, that is on my note sheet that I wrote at home before coming here. And I'll talk about that first, outside of the, because it was in the fight, but it was fight adjacent.
Okay.
Ford, disguised as a wealthy drow, plays crowd control. Flashes his badge, hero of the dynasty.
Yeah.
I think they think these things are a lot more common than they are. How many people do you think have these heroes of the dynasty badges?
Yeah, probably not that many.
And when word gets back, there was business for the Bright Queen and a dead bugbear, and they were flashing these badges.
Well, I mean, that's easily explained away on Ford's part as, hey, I can do this. He looked like this. Shoot.
Yeah. I just think they're...
But you do make a good point. They don't know how rare those things are.
I think they're relying a little too heavily on them. They're being a little more flamboyant in this city than I would be.
Oh, that's for sure. Well, it's more flamboyant than Caleb and Bo want to be.
it's one thing to use it to get into the library and then start working your way towards getting spells.
But to flash it like a police officer's badge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a little much.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's going to come back and bite them. If they're going to not necessarily get disciplined, but just reminded that, hey, much like Wako told them, hey, a big part of getting to be a hero is getting to stay alive here in this city.
I am waiting for them to be stolen.
Yeah.
Because they buy access, not necessarily power, and people who want access could steal it from them.
Yes.
And that's also why when they first got them, I asked, are they going to give this to Dairon?
Yeah.
Or who will give their coin to Dairon?
Yep.
The other thing that I thought was interesting in the lead up to the fight during the scouting, which they had downtime a week. They really could have sat on that place for a while and done some legwork in the beginning to know.
Then they wouldn't have had Christmas lights.
Well, Ford wasn't doing nothing. Ford was walking their neighborhood. He could have very easily just gone over to the Overcrow and hung out there.
And been a different person every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without wasting resources.
Yep. So that was my thought process going into this. Because my major concern, that thing that they were involved in, the confrontation, the killing of the Dragonborn, that wasn't even what they were there for.
Nope.
That had nothing to do with the rifts. That was just, I think that was Matt just kind of thrown in a random encounter that wasn't exactly random. And they took the bait and confronted him, and then Matt got to throw Orphan Maker out again.
Yeah.
And that was great. I did love that.
Well,
when Ashley's like,
let's talk about that. And that's going to lead into the Drow. The Drow recognizes the Orphan Maker. Whether he's actually seen her, because he says, I've heard of you.
Well, at the Bugbear, not Bug, the
Hobgoblin
says, I've heard of you.
Okay. So.
But the Drow, quote unquote.
Quote unquote, that's what the things I want to talk about. Now, the prevailing theory in the chat when it was going on was that it was a Cambion. And possibly the Cambion from Yasha's dream. Supporting evidence for that, they have a charm ability, which is not a spell, which would be why Matt had to look it up when she cast Dispel Magic. They can fly for the getaway. That's how they were able to get away so quickly.
See, I just assumed that he cast Dimension Door.
That's the other thing. If he had cast Dimension Door, Ford would have been able to dispel it.
Not from the back. He didn't have vision.
Okay. And
that's why he went out
plane
back.
Shift is the other thing that.
Well, if he was plane shifted, why come back?
Yeah.
Because if he was plane shifted, Caduceus wouldn't have been able to sense him.
Here's what I'm. Okay. Another theory. This is one of the two ideas that I thought of, and I know at least one other person mentioned this theory online. Vampire.
That was my thought.
We know they exist in Wildemount. Silas is from there. They've got the charm ability. They've can turn into mist or a bat and fly away. They, can have some, some of them have spell casting.
Yep.
Third wild speculation theory least likely of all, but something that crossed my mind. What if it's Trent and or one of his underlings? Or one of his underlings?
I thought of that too. Because
a wizard would be able to do all of those things, and Trent has met Yasha.
Yep. And could very easily have had detect thoughts going.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Matt could have made a saving throw for her behind the screen without her knowing. And her wisdom modifier is -2. Yeah. And his DC's got to be an 18, so she's...
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be rough. So, yeah.
Trent was my first thought, but then I was like, I don't know if Trent would go out here just for this. It might be one of his underlings.
Yes.
And then on my rewatch, I thought vampire. And, then I saw that online.
Yeah, my live, I thought it was a vampire when she had to roll to dispel magic. Because I was like, charm person, dispel would work. I was like, it's not charm person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ford needs to announce the level that he's casting his spells at.
Yeah. And that's something...
For a warlock, it's easy to forget to do.
Yeah. I was going to say, when I play a warlock, it's easy to forget to do because all your spells are that level.
Right.
But you do have to remember, this is being... I have to spend a 5th level spot on this. It may as well take advantage of the upcasting.
Yeah. Well, because like counterspell.
Yeah.
At 5th level is going to be able to counter any teleportation thing other than teleport.
Yeah.
It'll counter Misty Step. It'll counter Dimension Door.
Yep.
So yeah, but he didn't remind Matt, and Matt didn't remember, of course, because Matt's got 100 things going on back there. And that was a case on my rewatch. I really tried to find the window that he was looking through, and the camera angles were such that I could not see it. But Travis asked, Matt said yes. It's all good.
Yeah.
Made him make a perception check to see it. So, yeah.
And the hobgoblin, okay? And I don't know, this could be...
Statted as a PC.
This could be me with the whole, reading into and ignoring the whole saving face. It could have been played up as, because the hobgoblins have that saving face ability, which could be role played as the, he was totally unfazed, unafraid of death, even when completely outnumbered and alone. In fact, he almost welcomed it.
Yeah.
Was he consecrated? Was he someone from the dynasty consecrated that was working with the empire? Was he part of that group? And why would you care about that? Okay, I'm just gonna...
Well, if we are right when we speculated that there are groups within the dynasty working against the dynasty or with the...
and probably one of those lesser dens, not the main 3.
Yeah. Then it would stand to reason that, there's a fair chance that they are consecrated.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that, but I suppose that's possible.
Just, at the first watch I thought, is he consecrated? On rewatch I was like, well, maybe he's just playing up that hobgoblin, racial quirk.
Okay, so if the drow is a vampire, it would be an interesting potential flip of the script to have a vampire guide his family, his descendants, into becoming consecrated and a den, and then foster that growth.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting twist. The question is, because we still don't know what the connection to Yasha is.
Right.
And part of it's because the drow was disguised.
Right.
Because she tried to locate object on his scarf, and it wasn't a real scarf.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a great touch. And is sort of a great thing to remember as a GM.
Which, well, that means it could have been part of the alter self spell, which both the Cambion and a wizard, so Trent's underling, would have, possibly.
Well, alter self won't give you clothing.
Well,
no, it just alters your appearance. It will make you that thing.
Gotcha.
Like, it will make him a drow, but it won't give him clothes. Only disguised self can alter the total appearance to include clothing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm almost positive that it wasn't Charm Person that Not was whammied with.
Could have been Dominate Person, which would make sense for why she had to roll. It was either Dominate Person spell or a racial feature charm.
Yeah.
Like a vampire or succubus, that would happen. But if it was a member of the assembly, it was a Dominate Person spell.
Yeah. Did you get the feeling, because even on my rewatch, that they also recognize Not?
Yeah.
Because Matt says he sees you. He says, that's interesting. That was sort of the tone of, that's interesting. And then he charmed her. So, which leads more credence to it's somebody from the Empire who maybe saw them at the party or in the arena.
Yeah.
And then they just did their homework and talked to Trent. Trent in theory, could know Yasha's orphan maker, nom de plume, as it were. Well, I guess maybe technically Yasha is her nom de plume. Yeah. Well, okay, so are we right in even thinking that the Rift device was going to be delivered? Because the idea that this is a red herring is sort of is predicated on the notion that that device was going to be arriving later.
Yeah. And
it also seemed like the Dragonborn was taking a message back to whoever they worked for.
Yeah.
Now, they were saying that they were going to cast Speak with Dead.
Yeah.
And because Ford doesn't know his own strength. Now, there's an interesting question. If Ford had raised the Spectre, could they have demanded information from the Spectre?
Maybe. Yeah.
Because the ability is it's the soul of the person you killed. So they would know anything that the body knew.
Yeah. I
and
think
it also says
that DM call, but ultimately, but yeah.
They are under your control, so Ford could command it to.
I mean, if I had a player that was, that thought of that in the moment, I'd probably give it to him if they argued it. Now, it's under his control. That doesn't mean he's got to give him the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
True. Which is what Caduceus is worried about with Speak with Dead.
Right.
Is they are under no obligation to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even arguably a zone of truth wouldn't affect them either. Because zone of truth affects creatures. And at that point, the body is an object.
Yeah.
So, if you were ever thinking about doing that with Raised Dead, I don't think it works. But Jester's sending at the end.
Yes.
We might as well get into what's.
There are eyes on you. What was it? There are eyes on you. What happened? You didn't make the rendezvous.
Yeah. Something
to that effect. And I wrote down the response, because the response is what was just like, oh my gosh. And it was, I know you. I appreciate your attempt at deception. If you are intent on following, come north. And then a pause.
Very long pause.
Very long pause. Bring her.
Which is why it's hard for me to believe that it is somebody from the assembly, because they're fixating on Yasha, which means it's gotta be somebody from her village. Which is why I think it's more likely to be a vampire.
Yeah.
But if it is a Cambion, it is not the one. It is not connected to Yasha's dreams.
Yeah.
The angelic guide that Asimar get is not really a being you interact with on the physical plane.
Yeah.
They only appear in dreams. So it's certainly not that. But I could see any number of potential undead coming out of Yasha's murder spree.
Oh, yeah.
It's possible. Okay. So we know Yasha's tribe had arranged marriages.
Correct.
What if these arranged marriages are a vampire's breeding program?
Oh, wow.
For whatever ends that vampire may have. Maybe he's trying to breed sorcerers. Maybe he's trying to bring a tiefling about. Maybe any number of things. Maybe he views
mortals as, pets, and he's just a dog breeder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Selectively breeding for traits.
Yeah.
So, I definitely can see, especially an older vampire, looking down on mortals in that fashion.
Yeah. Well, especially since we're getting stuff that's pre-calamity.
Yeah.
If it's a vampire that's that old.
Yeah.
And he was escaping into the Ghostlands. And the Ghostlands, a pre-calamity vampire could be existing in the Ghostlands in Jorhas quite comfortably, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
So perhaps he saw the fall of the city and doesn't like what the dynasty has done. And so he's working with the Empire to break it.
Yeah.
or he got wind of this Imperial plot to open up abyssal rifts and is like, oh yeah, we can bring mom and pop home.
Well, another thing, he may just be a really old vampire who had, the breeding for whatever reason. Oh, this orphan maker just ruined my livestock, for lack of a better word. I've got to find a new one. Oh, look, the Ghostlands. People are always coming out here trying to. No one's going to notice them going missing.
Yeah.
More will come to take the land.
Yeah.
Oh, now this person who screwed up my original program showing up. Let me get revenge.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I can't think of anything that would be. There's not really a deity that's directly opposed to the Storm Lord.
No.
Does this vampire idea fit into Inagu or the Crawling King? Unless, well, it could very easily connect to the Crawling King.
Yeah.
Because if he's pre-Calamity, he could have been a servant to the Crawling King before the city fell.
Well, and the Crawling King, especially if it is a drow vampire and not, being disguised as a drow for whatever reason. The Crawling King is like his domain is, dark places and undeath and stuff. So it could very easily fit with the. Then there's another one that's more vampiric that I'm blanking on the name of, but there's a couple of betrayer gods that could very easily fit this guy.
Yeah. Matt seemed excited at the possibility of adding baddies that have counterspell. What do you think the possibility is that we see a Lich?
I think, we've seen a lot of undead in this campaign. Not as much as demons, but,
yeah,
I think it's definitely possible. Especially if there's any more followers of the Whispered One.
Yeah. Although I guess technically a Lich might be a little too high CR for them right now. Matt's not the kind of DM that will just drop that kind of thing.
No, but he has admitted that pre-stream first campaign they went up against the Lich, but he had depowered it to where it was just ascended, and so he could do something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you had spell screw you over as a DM, you get excited at the.
Yeah. It's funny that he thought he only had to contend with it from one player.
Yeah.
But Caleb tends to manage his resources, I think, better than Ford. Ford will usually just bang, bang.
Yeah.
Because they take a short rest, he's got his spell slots back. Because that's the beauty of a warlock. And Matt runs the kind of game where a warlock can take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Where I'm trying to think off the top of my head, the most short rests that they have done is 3 before taking a long rest.
I think so. It's 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think 3 though.
So Warlock, I mean, that basically gives Ford, if they do that, if you think about it, 6 5th level spell slots.
Yeah.
Which potentially makes him the heaviest hitter of everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Last few minutes. What do we expect for this next upcoming episode? Do they sit on the Overcrow? Because that's my first question.
No.
Okay, you think they take the bait and go north?
I think they take the bait. I think they possibly talk to Wersh about what's north. He was heading on traveling there. They may even try to take him.
Well, I don't think they're going north. They're not going that far. They're just going to go out to the Ghost Lands. They're going after this guy.
2, they definitely go after him, and we get a bit of Yasha backstory.
Yeah.
We find out how he knows the Orphan Maker.
And we'll probably, if that's the case, we will get the first hints of whether or not we're right and she killed everyone in her village.
Yep.
Or most everyone in her village.
3, and I told you about this earlier, this is wild speculation territory again, because I don't think it's going to happen. This is like there's like a 10% chance this is going to happen. Mark Holmes was in town for the D&D stream. He was a guest on Mame Drop today. On Mame Drop, him and Talis are talking, and he said, they say he was here for the weekend for the D&D stream. He thought he'd stay the week because he didn't have anything pressing. Who knows what might happen? But we're not saying anything, which they were kind of hinting that there is a possibility he may be at least in the studio watching Critical Role, if not Caliana making a guest appearance.
Yeah.
So I'm saying there's about a 10% chance that Caliana will actually be there.
Yeah, and I made the point to you that when they first met, Caliana was attached to a smuggling ring operation.
Right.
And the Overcrow was a smuggling den.
Which basically bumped it from 5% to 10%. It doubled the chances.
Fair.
I don't think it'll happen. I think the main reason I think it might is because he's from all the way in England, and I know they all really like him. They all get along, and hey, here's a chance we can, pull him in and hang out and play with him, and let's make it happen. And like you said, the smuggling ring, we're getting into stuff with, the betrayer gods anyway.
Was it one of their packages from Kelly?
Yeah, that's it, with the Pillow Trove. Which is kind of why I was like, well...
He's going to be at a table first.
Yeah, which was my original, but then I was like, but so soon after the package was dropped.
No, and I think and that's gonna be the dialogue. They're gonna come across Callie and she's going, "Did you get my package?" And they're gonna
where's Mr. Molly? Because she did really like Molly. She thought he was pretty nice.
Yeah. That'll be the dialogue if it happens. And be like, no, we haven't actually been there for 4 months. We were actually on the coast.
And
you didn't come see me?
Per crit roll stats, give them the shout out there. Game in time has been like 5.5, maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
Caduceus has been with them for 4 of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's got 10 more episodes than Molly does, but he's got like 3 times the time spent with, or double the time spent with.
Yeah. Well, it's the same joke that Travis has more time playing Yasha than Ashley. By episode count.
I don't know. When I think back, it doesn't feel like that.
No, it doesn't.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, the days were spread out so much more in those earlier episodes. You know, so much more was going on. They got through fewer days in a session. And especially with like the boat trip and the sailing and the overland travel took up a lot of time.
Yeah, the sea portion is what really ate up a lot of time, just because
that was half of the in-game time was at sea.
Yeah.
You know, because the couple weeks sailing, you know, get through that quickly.
Yeah.
But I thought that was an interesting note. I was like, wow, I did not realize that. You know, so.
Do you think we will go to the Jorhas seaside?
I don't know.
Because the Bright Queen did mention that they were going to send troops that way because the Golden Chain were being hired.
Yeah.
But the information we got about the Golden Chain is that they were going through the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that bit of misunderstanding / misinformation, because they didn't correct her on the location, may draw forces away?
Yeah.
From the Ashkeeper? So there were a couple points early in the episode, especially when Caleb was doing a lot of talking, and I'm getting ready to play a intelligence officer in the next campaign I'm playing in, and whenever I do that, I channel Andrew J. Robinson's Garrick. And there were a few lines of dialogue in this episode. I was like, that's sort of how Garrett was feeling when they were talking about saving lives and whose lives are you saving was one of my thoughts, and that's like right out of when Garrett has his claustrophobia episodes.
Yeah.
And Ezri says, you're saving a lot of lives. And he's like, whose lives? Starfleet? Klingons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in a war, when you save lives from one side, you're usually taking them from the other.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, it's so yeah. I look forward to seeing how the Mad Bright Queen plays out.
Yeah.
I don't think they will sit on the Overcrow, even though I think they should. I think they will.
Maybe they can give that to Yeza. Yeza Nugget can sit on them.
No, I think what's probably going to happen is they're going to chase this lead north to its red herring conclusion.
Pseudo-agreeance there.
And then they will go back to the Overcrow, where the rift, depending on how long this Yasha side thing or Orphan Maker side thing takes, the rift may already be.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know that it's fair to call this a red herring. Because it's more of a side quest.
It's a red herring in the sense that they thought these people were the ones that were bringing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see that. But it's more like, you know, in Skyrim where you're doing this storyline, and then in the storyline something comes up and you're like, oh, I'm going to go off and do the side quest.
Yeah.
Of course, in Skyrim it's more side quest. Oh, I'm going to do the storyline thing real quick. Okay, side quest. But
fair.
You get the point.
Yeah. That's fair. And Matt has done a much stronger job this campaign than last of tying each character's backstory into the main overarching thing. So while I'm calling it a red herring, just because I don't think they're the ones who are going to be bringing the Rift device, it may tie in a different way. Yasha's tie in to the whole bring back the life to the land.
Yep.
Will play into that, which is opposite the Rift. So 6 1/2 dozen of the other.
Yeah.
But tonight's talks is Sam and Liam.
Yes, the presidential debate.
We are going to go enjoy that, and we will see you guys next week.
I guess.